Zach,
Sam?
we're about 2.5 days away from something I think we've both been waiting on for a year, which is going back to the SEC tournament. Like
Like Christmas Day, if Christmas Day
it's
was 5 days ago.
literally like
Like Hanukkah. Like
it's better
Hanukkah?
than Christmas Day. Like at this point in my life, this is better than Christmas to me. Like it's become easily the best week of the year. And like I always loved the SEC tournament, but now like going and working at it is like, gosh, like I could
Conference
not be
championship
more
week.
excited.
Conference championship week, regardless, is like amazing. But then you throw in that
Right.
this is looking back in history, this is on paper like the greatest conference tournament, maybe of all time.
Yeah, it's up there.
So I know Big 12 fans will say stuff and Big 10 fans will say stuff, but you just look at the facts and look at, I mean, looking at Wednesday alone, you've got potentially 5 teams playing on Wednesday, maybe 6 teams playing on Wednesday that can make the tournament. Like
Yeah.
that's insane. And obviously from there on out, everybody's in basically. It's already a lock.
Which is crazy. Because I mean, I remember years ago. I mean, you'd have the 8 and 9 seeds like fighting for their tournament, like in the SEC, and sometimes even like 7 seeds. And
Right.
now it's like those teams that are on the Thursday games are pretty much like locks
You've
already. Like,
had you've had years within the past 10 years where like the tournament didn't matter until Friday. And it only mattered Friday because oh, Kentucky's playing. Like now
yep,
it's like you look at everything and there's so much intrigue and I cannot wait for it to get here.
yeah, no, like I could give a few teams as to who I think might do good, but like, I mean, this could go to a lot of different teams. Like, literally, I think any team Thursday or Friday has a good chance at winning. And
Yeah.
maybe, I mean, who knows? Maybe some of these Wednesday teams get hot. Like
Well,
Arkansas
it
is a
all
9 seed. Like who knows what they do?
well, it all goes back to you think about last year,
Yep.
looking at it is who wants to win this? Who wants to, go on a run? Who needs to go on a run to make the tournament? I mean, last year
Mm-hmm.
Mississippi State went on a run and was able to get to Saturday. They upset the number one seed in Tennessee.
Yep.
It's just a matter. You look at Alabama, they kind of I'm not gonna say they didn't care, but they're one and done, and it ends up not mattering in the long run because then they have a couple more days to prep and get their mind right, and they go on to make the Final Four. You look at the two teams that were in the championship game, Auburn and Florida, they fight their way to get there, and then all of a sudden, they're out 3 days later in the first round.
Yeah.
You just never know mentality wise how teams are going to approach it. Look at
Do you
A&M
think teams
last.
are going to strategize that way?
Um,
Like, I'm not saying Nate Oates tells his team to lose. I'm just saying, do you
no, that
think
never
like
that never comes up. But I mean, there's some that'll be like it's not the end of the world if they don't win this championship game, especially that
right
pretty much
1 through 4? I don't think it
seeding one through
does.
four is pretty much a lock unless say Tennessee, Alabama, and Florida, I guess for a one seed could still be up for debate. Um, and so if they
That's
won out, that
yeah.
would lock in a one seed.
Right.
I mean, I think
I
they're
think
all
Auburn's
top
got to.
two seeds regardless.
You think even if Tennessee goes out in the on Friday, you still think they're a top 2 seed?
Well, there was talk they locked up a one or a two seed for beating Alabama last weekend. So I mean, you never
No,
know.
but they're sitting there as a 4 seed. Like it's just I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, shoot, four seed in this doesn't matter. You look at Missouri's a seven and Kentucky's a six, and Mississippi State's ranked 25th in the country. They're the 10th seed. You know what I mean? It's just,
No, yeah, that's a good point. I think Auburn and Florida are number one locks. Like
yeah.
Auburn's sitting here as the 1 seed in the SEC, and Florida is a team that's beaten Auburn and beaten Alabama. Like
Well, and the
that's
one thing I
impressive.
noticed last year in the tournament that also plays a factor is you could tell Auburn wanted to win the tournament. They were locked
Yeah,
in
they had
on
that
their
passion.
main goal was winning the tournament. I don't know if
Yeah.
I say that about every team, but they were locked in. Mentioned it a little bit early. Texas A&M, they knew they had to get on a run to make the NCAA tournament. So they
Mm-hmm.
win their first game. They go and beat Kentucky. They, gave Florida a good shot on Saturday. They made a run to secure their spot. You go back
Yeah.
for us as Alabama fans with the Colin Sexton, they had to win a couple games to get in the tournament. It's just a
No,
matter of
yeah.
looking at what Arkansas does because they're on the bubble. What Texas and Oklahoma do because they're on the bubble. Does Vandy have one more run in them? It's
Mm-hmm.
just going to be something about those first round games are just really. I'm really looking at Texas Vanderbilt as one because you think Vanderbilt's safe, but you never know. Texas needs it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then Oklahoma, Georgia. Oklahoma needs that game to
Mm-hmm.
secure anything. You could even make the case maybe Georgia's safe, but they need to win that. And if they win that, the winner of that gets Kentucky in the night game on Thursday. They need to win that one too.
Yeah, literally. Well, let's go day by day, like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like, I mean, let's talk about Wednesday. Like, I mean, I think as much as the talent isn't going to be as high as those later and higher seeded teams, I think the
Mhm.
passion is going to be all there because, like, I mean, even South Carolina, like, you win one game, then win two games, all of a sudden maybe you're at Auburn. Like, I mean, every team here has something to play for, I feel like.
Realistically, at this bracket, the only thing that could realistically shock me is LSU and South Carolina making it to past Friday. You know what I mean? Or making it to Friday, I guess. That would be the one thing where I'd be totally shocked. Anything else, nothing would surprise me. It wouldn't shock
Mm-hmm.
me if Vandy made it into the quarter or the semifinals. It wouldn't shock me if Mississippi State made a run. It wouldn't shock me if, one of the top seeds gets upset. Nothing would surprise me other than South Carolina or LSU making a run at it. But again, you never know.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at that first slate of games, the first game, South Carolina and Arkansas, and you look at that and you just assume Arkansas. And Arkansas has been playing well three of the last four games, but the one game they didn't play well, they lost by 20 plus to South Carolina. So
Yep.
you just never know. They lost at home to South Carolina. They couldn't make a shot.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this time around, Arkansas will be more prepared for that. But again, you never know how it's going to play out.
I mean, it's just like, I mean, it happens every year, and not just the conference tournament, but in the NCAA tournament. You have no idea who could sit here and get hot
Right.
from whatever. And I feel like it's more likely to happen in the SEC tournament than it even could be in March Madness. Because like for as bad as South Carolina and LSU is, I mean, all the teams in this bracket that like they've been playing them all year, so they know how good the competition is, and like they know what to expect. It's just a matter of can they get hot? Can they get the job done? But like it's definitely not impossible for like an LSU to beat a Mississippi State or a
Yeah.
South Carolina to beat Arkansas. I mean, is it likely? No, but like
It's not impossible. I think the more impossible is them can you stack days in a row and when fatigue gets in and next thing you know you're playing three games in a row and you're gassed.
and but sometimes I feel like playing those games can benefit you because like you get on a hot streak and you're playing good basketball and then you're running into whoever that hasn't played a basketball
I
game
mean,
in
that's fair.
like a week.
Florida played on Thursday last year and they made it to the championship game because they just got hot.
Yeah, like Wednesday to Sunday is brutal, but like I think the Thursday spot is a good spot to be. Like I've got one team in my mind. I've got Missouri. I feel like they could be looking at a run right now.
I could definitely see that.
Like I don't know why, but they just seem
No, I
like the
could I
type
could
of
definitely
team to
see
get
why
hot.
because a lot of these teams, especially on that side of the bracket, you look at specifically looking at Missouri, Kentucky, and Alabama, the way they score the ball, like
Mm-hmm.
the scoring is going to be there
All guns
regardless.
blazing, exactly.
It's going to come down to which team can, better body up defensively
Mm-hmm.
because Missouri doesn't have a lot of size. They don't get a lot of rebounds. They don't get a lot of block shots. Kentucky and Alabama are the bottom. They're the top two in offense and they're the bottom two in defense. So you're going to get a track meet. It's just a matter of who can score first.
Mm-hmm. And
So
that's why we were texting the other day, and that's why I was like, to me, I feel like the champion is going to come from that side of the bracket. And my reasoning for that is kind of what you just explained. Like, one of those teams is going to get hot, and by the time they get to Sunday, they're going to be on fire. And like, they're getting in shootout after shootout after shootout, and all of a sudden they're scoring the basketball really well.
yeah.
And I mean, as bad as they are defensively, like, I mean, what would you rather have? Lockdown defense and bad offense, or really good offense and a defense that's not going to be great? Like in a tournament like this, I would almost rather just score the ball at a really high clip because,
Yeah,
like,
that's true.
to
Well, and we can get to who we think's gonna win it all, but
mm-hmm,
out of that bracket, there's someone that I feel really, really good about.
mm-hmm.
But I guess I'll start with looking at, is there someone for you in that first day that you think could end up making it to Saturday?
The Saturday.
Yeah, making it to Friday or Saturday. I just want to see, I guess specifically, is there one Wednesday that you think could make it to Friday and be like, oh wow? And is there one, I guess, on Thursday that you'd be like, you wouldn't be shocked if they made it to the semis? Because there's gonna be one. There's gonna be one.
I
That
mean, I think the obvious first rounder is Arkansas. Like I could easily see them beating Carolina and beating Ole Miss, but like
Mhm.
outside of them, I could also see Vanderbilt getting hot and beating Texas A&M on Thursday. I
Yeah,
mean, they run into that would be a fun Vanderbilt Tennessee in-state matchup in Nashville. That would be
yeah.
fun. Um, but those are the two teams I'm looking at. Like to me, like Georgia, Oklahoma, I just don't see either of them beating Kentucky. Like to me, I think we're looking at a Kentucky Bama game, which is going to be
Yeah, I
amazing.
mean, on paper, that is what I want, and it will
It's
emotionally drive me crazy.
scar us.
It will emotionally, but see, the good thing for me is that's the last game of the day, so I'm basically done. Uh,
Yeah,
so I may be able to watch that one as maybe
fan.
semi a fan.
Hmm.
Keeping emotion in check is going to be pretty tough, but
Yeah.
you never know. I feel like that's what people want. Will it happen? I don't know.
Who do you think wins that
Kentucky and
if it
Alabama.
happens?
See, what scares me is that Bama's beating them twice. Like
Yes,
it's hard to beat
but
a team. It's hard to beat a team three times.
agreed.
It's hard to beat a team three times. Last time they played, Alabama was able to figure it out more defensively, but it all depends on the availability of Kentucky's players because they didn't have their full roster.
Hmm.
Um, and then I've been saying it. You're gonna probably get tired of hearing it. The Big Blue Nation taking over Nashville is a real,
No, yeah, it's legit.
especially when you consider the fact that I mean Alabama will bring some fans, but not to that level. And the other teams on the bracket right now is Mississippi State, Missouri, Florida.
Right,
Like they
right.
won't travel as much. It is gearing up where Alabama will be, the road team in that.
I
Uh,
noticed that like that side of the bracket fan base wise, I feel like is going to struggle. Like I feel like Kentucky will carry that side
they
because I
need
mean
Kentucky to go on a run.
you're looking at Auburn, Tennessee, Vandy, and Arkansas all in one side of the bracket. And like we were saying last
Hmm.
night, those are probably four of the bigger fan bases we'll see in the
Yeah,
SEC. So,
for sure.
but I, I I get what you mean. It's hard to beat a team three times, but I'm optimistic about Bama more so than I have been, just because I think we're getting a pissed off and motivated Alabama. I think
Yeah.
beating Auburn was huge for them. I think it's going to carry some heavy momentum into the tournament. And like for all they could get smacked in any of these games, if they're not shooting the ball
Hmm.
well, if they're scoring on offense, it's going to be hard to beat that team. Hard. And I'm
That's
talking any
true.
team in the whole tournament Auburn, Florida, Tennessee. It's going to be hard to beat an Alabama team
I
with
agree
good
with that.
shots.
I want to fact check for the people before we dive more into Alabama. Your thoughts on the Georgia Kentucky game? When they played January 7th, Georgia won by 13.
Mm-hmm.
Just throwing that out there. So it can be done.
No,
It can be done.
no, it can be done, but like you said, Kentucky in the SEC tournament, I think is a different
That's true.
beast.
For me, looking at those, going back to who I think in the first round that can make a run, I really like Georgia. I don't know
You like
why.
Georgia? Interesting.
There's just something about them. They played Vandy really well this past weekend. They played at Auburn really, really tough and really well. They're they beat Florida 2 weeks ago. Like when they're on,
Yeah, no, I get that.
watch out.
I'm just thinking Vandy because to me, out of the top eight seeds, like Texas A&M's the one that kind of scares me the least. If that makes
A&M's
any
the one I
sense,
can't really figure out.
that's what I mean.
It's
Like
like
I
they
think
have
we,
their guys. They still have their guys from like Wade Taylor's still on the team,
yeah,
and statistically, it's been his worst year as an Aggie. Um,
mm-hmm,
and it's one of those where offensively they're 12th in the SEC in offense, so they don't score a ton.
no,
Defensively, they're great, but
right,
like all their points come from getting offensive rebounds, and outside of that, there's not much offense there.
mm-hmm,
So I'm with you on that. Out of the four teams on Thursday, I feel like A&M may get bounced early.
yep. Um, so do you want to go like at each game get like predict a winner, or just want to give like a general idea?
Um, let's go with who. Let's start with who you would have in like your final. Who would you have in your semis? I think that might be
In the
unless you see
semis or
unless you see a
quarters?
shocking upset in those first, 3 days.
Um, I mean, my upset is I think Vanderbilt gets to Tennessee.
I like
Um,
it. Beats
I do
Tennessee or gets
no,
to
I
that
think
point.
Tennessee wins. Uh, I'll take Auburn, Tennessee in the semis.
Okay.
Um, and I'm gonna take Bama, Missouri on the other
Mhm.
side.
I
Um,
think for a Bama fan, that's the perfect scenario, by the way.
yeah, it is. And I don't know. As much as Kentucky is good, like I would honestly rather play Kentucky than Missouri, man. I just don't know. There's something about Missouri that scares the
I don't
crap out
feel
of me.
as worried about Missouri if we're not playing them at Missouri. I feel like that was one of those games where they were shot out of a cannon, ready to get. They could have been playing anybody, and they were ready to play.
Yeah, but
I
like it
would feel
also is
much
just like,
better playing Missouri than I would playing Florida.
oh yeah, absolutely. No, I mean I don't want to play Florida. I think we lose to Florida if we play them in
Hmm.
the tournament. So I mean I don't know. I'll stick with my gut, and I think Missouri's going to get hot and beat Florida. I just think they're one of those teams to turn it up. Like I don't know if Florida's necessarily one of those teams to just get like hot. Like I think they're just a really good team, and they're just kind of set the way they are. Like, does that make any sense? Like
Yeah, I mean,
they
offensively
don't
they
go
play
up and down.
defensively. Yeah,
They don't peak. Like Alabama, Florida, who has a higher peak? I think Bama had a higher peak this season, but like who dipped lower easily? Alabama.
yeah.
I don't know. Florida's just one of those steady teams. That's so. I don't know who you got. Who are you looking at in the semis?
I am leaning chalk, which I know that that's like the worst thing for when you're trying to podcast or whatever. I'm leaning chalk and just all four seeds get there. I'm still, there's any
Hard to bet
chaos,
against that.
if there's any chaos to me, it's on that Friday night side of the bracket, and I could see it end. I could realistically see it end up being Auburn, Tennessee, and it would not shock me at all if it would end up being Missouri, Kentucky.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Just from the aspect of two with Bama, what's the motivation? Um, which is fair. Like I'm impressed by that win from Auburn because I didn't think they would go in there and beat Auburn. Um, just being real, so I was very impressed by that. It's just a matter of I feel like, and you can look at the past with Oats when they've won the conference championship, they're definitely way more in on trying to win the whole thing. Like when they win
Yeah.
the regular season is what I mean. The regular
Mhm.
season championship, they want to double dip and win both. Um, and just the fact that they're in the exact same slot they were in last year, maybe that's a good thing because they can refocus on it. Um, I will
Yeah,
go chalk,
it'll
but
be
I wouldn't
familiar
be.
territory.
Yeah, I'm going to go chalk, and I think it'd be Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Auburn. Um, but it would not surprise me if it's Missouri, Kentucky. It could
I
easily
mean,
top those.
that's hard to bet against because to me, the top five teams in college basketball have been 1 through 4 in the SEC and Duke.
Yeah.
So I think that's hard to argue. But
I
semis,
think Tennessee's the one that like they could get in trouble too, but
I think
I think
Tennessee is the
matchup
most in
wise, I
trouble.
think matchup wise with A&M, Vandy, or Texas, I don't think it's an issue. I think if they get, I think once they get to the semifinals, it's a different story. But I think
Hmm.
they get a good draw in the quarters.
So who are you looking at to go to the championship?
I think it's a rematch of last year. I think it's Auburn and Florida.
Hmm.
I think Auburn, if it's Auburn, Tennessee, I think Auburn matches up really well with Tennessee. As far
I'm
as
way
their
more,
win,
yeah. I'm way
with
more in on Auburn beating Tennessee than I am the other game. I'm torn on the other game.
Yeah, I just and I'm one of those until I see it happen, I'm gonna stick with Florida, getting Alabama. Just the way,
Yeah,
like you said, how steady they are. I mean, they're fifth in offense and third in defense in the SEC. Like that
right.
alone, they shoot well at three. They don't give up a lot of points on defense. They can rebound, they can shoot threes, they can score. Walter Clayton can assist. I don't know. I love them. If they want to be there, and not have what happened to him last year. You know what I mean? It's the same talk where it's like they've got no problem getting done and getting back to Florida and prepping for the tournament.
Yeah.
They're my favorite to win the whole thing.
Florida.
Yes. Because
Yeah.
all respect to Auburn. They've got the crown right now. They've earned the crown, but they've lost their last two games and their defense is starting to let up a little bit.
I think the winner of Alabama Florida beats Auburn, either team.
Yeah.
Um and I'm torn, man. I don't know.
Now, dream scenario is it's the Iron Bowl of basketball for the championship.
Like that's what I'm thinking and like what
That is the dream scenario, but
like
I
why I
gotta
think
think with
that
my
is like
head, not with my heart.
the thing is Alabama's like I'm I feel like they're either going to lose Friday or make it to the championship. I don't see them losing in the semis. I mean, like if they beat Kentucky, like that means they're starting to heat up. If that makes any
Yeah.
sense to me, that means they shot the basketball well. They put up those points. If
Mm-hmm.
they can carry that into Saturday, like can
They get
Florida
high,
can Florida match Alabama's peak on offense?
right?
Like, and I have no idea. Um, I'll say Florida. I'm like 60-40 on this, if not even closer, but I'll lean Florida just because they've proven that they can, and they've proven that they'd be a harder team to shake in the tournament, if that makes any
Yeah,
sense.
I agree.
Um, but I think that's a more interesting game than Florida Auburn because I honestly think Florida beats Auburn by double digits.
I mean, they already beat them by double digits in their home gym. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah, I mean, but I think if Alabama beats Florida, I think they beat Auburn too. I think they're hot as they can be at that point if they get to Sunday. Like I think Alabama in the championship is the hardest team to play in the SEC. Like
Yeah,
if they get there, but it's just a matter of can they get there. So
that's fair. I want to give love because we've not once mentioned, I think, the Mississippi schools, and like Ole Miss is having a phenomenal year.
mm-hmm.
I definitely think they can. If it's Ole Miss Arkansas Thursday, that's going to be
That's a fun
an
matchup.
incredible game.
It's a fun
An
matchup.
incredible game because Ole Miss is just kind of like sleeping around. Oh, we play defense. We can sometimes, score. And it's like, dude, they beat Tennessee. They beat Alabama. Like,
I could see Arkansas or Ole Miss bouncing Auburn.
yeah,
I
I
think it's
definitely,
possible.
I lean more Arkansas in that. Um,
Yeah.
if Arkansas can get on a run, just because Ole Miss scoring wise, they don't have a ton. They're
Mm-hmm.
great defensively. They're great defensively. I mean, you saw when they went to Tuscaloosa and they gave Alabama all they could and then some.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and then Mississippi State just it's still my thought from last year where they're the same type of team where they're gritty, they're tough, they're not gonna, shoot lights out and they're not gonna shoot great from three, but you get in a dogfight with them, literally, and next thing you know, you blink and oh my gosh, they're there playing on Friday.
Right. Who
So
was the team? You said you had a team that you had in mind about making a run. Who was that team?
I think it was I think it was from Wednesday to get into Friday was Georgia.
Georgia.
Yeah, getting into
Yeah.
that slot with Bama. I think as far as Thursday, then I also still kind of lean Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the points we've talked about where it can be an offensive shootout.
So let's say it's not a chalk. Who
Yeah.
from
What's the
Wednesday?
chaos bracket here? What is the chaos
Yeah, like
bracket?
what? Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Give me your semis in in a chaotic bracket, but realistic, like an X, like why that team could somehow get to Saturday. You know?
Chaotic bracket, I think it would be Arkansas making it to the semis.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Um, I'll give it to them because they're the 5 seed. It would be chaotic, I guess. People would be shocked if Texas A&M made it.
Mm-hmm.
Like worst case scenario for the city of Nashville and like attendance and whatnot, if the semis was Arkansas, Texas A&M, Missouri, and like Georgia.
Gosh,
You know what I mean?
yeah, that would be fun. That would be fun.
A very small chance of that happening, but you never know.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I watched Arkansas play Vanderbilt in Nashville Tuesday night, and just the size of them, like Big Z, Jonas Adu, like they got some hops on that
Some big
team. They,
boys.
they
Yeah.
can't shoot to save their life, which is going to be a problem. But they can
Yeah.
rebound. They can offensive. They can't shoot free throws either. But
Mm-hmm.
they matchup wise
They
with
can't play
Vandy,
basketball.
they just killed them.
Yeah.
They just killed them.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I'm
that's stuck in my head. Vandy's kind of been slumping the last 2 games, so I don't see it. We haven't said much about Texas either, and they've got the dude that's scored the most points in the conference this year. So
yeah. I was just thinking that my chaotic is Arkansas, Texas, Missouri, Georgia.
mm,
Um, just like you said, Texas has the leading score in the conference. That's going to help them get into a game where you're close and you have someone that can take a game over. That's another reason
yeah,
I'm optimistic about Bama is Mark Sears can be that dude. Like they get in a close game, like give him
Mhm.
the ball and get
Even when
out
he's
the
not
way.
the dude during the game,
No, no,
he
no.
can be
He
that dude.
like a good example is the game when we played Auburn in Tuscaloosa. Like
Yeah.
Mark Sears didn't have a great game, but as soon
He
as
didn't
they
have a
were
good
down
game this
15,
Saturday either. He had
he
nine
didn't have a
points.
great one either. Yeah, I mean, but when they got down and they needed shots, like
Yeah.
he started stepping up. I think the key to Alabama is Grant Nelson. I think
100%.
Grant Nelson is the deciding do they get to the championship. And as weird as that
Yeah.
is to say, like to me, Sears is going to do his thing. Like the guys like Youngblood, Holloway, those shooters are going to do their thing.
Phylon, my boy Phylon.
Phylon, can Grant Nelson dominate the post?
Yeah, I
Like,
mean it's gonna come down to him at the four. Can he stay out of foul trouble? Because he always gets in
yes,
foul trouble.
he's horrible about foul trouble.
Is the confidence there? Because when the confidence is there, you get the North Carolina game. You get how he played yesterday. You get
Yesterday,
runs from
gosh.
him that, where has this guy been all year?
Mm-hmm.
When you've got not confident Grant Nelson, you've got him shanking three pointers, and he looks like a deer on skates out there on defense.
Exactly.
So he's got to lock in and realize like it's literally for him, it's now or never.
Yeah, there is no
This
more next
year,
season for him. And
this is it. Lock
is
the
he an NBA
gates.
player? I don't know. Probably not.
This is it. Probably not.
Yeah. I mean, he
Safe
could go to a
assumption.
G League team. I could see him on a G League roster.
Yeah, and not just Grant Nelson, but like the defense. There was a stretch there where it was starting to get going, and then Florida showed up.
Mm-hmm.
The defense against these top heavy teams, man, that's what it's going to come down to because it's going to be, like you said, all likelihood it's going to be a Kentucky. And then if you win that, it's going to be a Florida or Missouri
Yeah.
you struggled with. And then, who knows if it's
Tough.
Tennessee or Auburn again. Like you've got to lock in defensively.
Mm-hmm.
Defensively and turning the ball over. We've been preaching to the choir, but that's what you're going to have to do if you're going to make a run, not just in this, but in the national championship, which NATO's saying on paper, this is Final Four or bust this year.
Yeah. Who who out of any team in this tournament could you see absolutely dominating? Like they beat every team they play by 15 points plus.
Florida.
Yeah. That's what
Florida.
I was thinking. Yeah.
See, Tennessee is going to grind it out, and Tennessee will do that to the like second tier competition.
Yeah.
Like anybody in the second round, I could see them, because they're the best defensive team
Killing.
in the league by
Right.
far, the best defensive team in the country. Tennessee is just going to come down to can they get offense outside of Chaz Lanier and Zakai Ziegler? Can
Mm-hmm.
Milicic do something? Can Meshack do something? Can they get that spurt of offense? Because if they're not going to give up 80 points a game or whatever. If they could get to 75, 80 points, they're sitting pretty. They don't have the offense to do that.
Right.
So when it comes to them playing A&M or Ole Miss or, you know, that, like I said, the second tier, I'm not worried about them. It's when you get to, oh, they're playing Auburn, they're playing Missouri, they're playing Florida, they're playing those top six or seven teams. It's a very
Mm-hmm.
different story.
Yeah.
Um, but to answer your question, Florida, just because of how consistent they are.
They're just the most complete team. Like you said, Tennessee's going to play lockdown defense, but they're not going to score enough necessarily to beat teams by
And I
that
mean, you look at the
margin.
resume where they beat Auburn, they beat Alabama, they split with Tennessee, and when they played Tennessee the first time, they beat them by 30. They beat
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky, so it's like you look at the only one they really slipped up against was they lost to Tennessee
Tennessee. Yeah.
um, at home, and then Missouri beat them in Gainesville. Uh,
Yeah.
but when they're wanting to play, I give me Florida.
Yeah. I want to say Bama, but like their defense just isn't good enough for that kind of run.
And
If
until Saturday, I still was how they perform against the top tier teams was very. It's not like they're getting blown out or anything. They're competitive, but you've got to finish those games. So maybe Saturday was, the spark.
mm-hmm.
But until then, it was like, oh, you're dominating the lower tier teams, but we need to see what you do against the big dogs.
Well, that's what made me excited is after Saturday and Alabama beating Auburn, it's like all these top four teams have kind of beaten each other at some
Oh
point
yeah,
throughout
it's
the
it's a
year.
crapshoot. It's an
And it's
absolute
just
crapshoot.
such like it's awesome. Like to me, Auburn, Bama, Florida, Tennessee are not that far apart from each other. Like
No, like the
I could
gap
give
is
get
closed from Auburn.
I could give bits and pieces of which team I think is like I mean I would say like I don't know Tennessee probably the best defensive team. Best
Hmm.
offensive team, I'd say Bama. Like, who has
Yeah.
the best overall team? Maybe Auburn or Florida. Who's been the most consistent? Probably Florida. Like, each of these
Yeah.
teams has one thing about them that makes it so
Yeah.
interesting. It's just kind of like, what do you value in the tournament? Like, what's gonna get you all the way? And like I
You
said,
look
like,
at you look at the good and bad, where you look at Auburn, uh, like they're top five in scoring. They shoot top five in three. They make their free throws, which is big.
mm-hmm,
They block the most shots. Uh, so it's I think for them it's just defensively. That's the
yeah,
one kind of just going through the top four real quick. Florida, there is we've been saying they're just consistent where they're top five in offense and defense. Their one little bugaboo, I didn't realize this looking it up, is they're the worst in the SEC in free throw percentage.
yeah.
So that could be like their one. They get into
Mm-hmm.
a late game making your free
Free
throw.
throws are gonna be big in this tournament because it's gonna be a
Yeah.
lot of close games. So
But I mean, they're top six in shooting threes. They're second in rebounds. They're third in assist to turnover ratio. Like they don't turn the ball over. Like
it's crazy.
free throw seems to be the one flaw with them. You look at Bama, it's literally they're on opposite sides of the spectrum, offensively and defensively. First in
Right.
scoring offense, last in scoring defense. First in field goals, they're second in 3-point percentage. The first in rebounds, which is big. First in assists, last in turnovers. So
It's
like
crazy.
just literally opposite sides of the spectrum with Bama.
That's what makes it so hard to predict with them. Like I could so easily see them winning this tournament so easily, but I could so easily see them losing in the first round. Like
Yeah,
you just have no idea what you're gonna get
it's
with them,
they are unpredictable. And then Tennessee, the first in the league in defense, they average giving up 66 points a game, which
which
is
is insane.
and the contrary is they're 13th in the league in scoring, averaging only 70 points a game. So
Which I just don't think that's gonna cut it in this kind of tournament. Like
no, it's not going to cut. That's why Rick Barnes hasn't made the Final Four at Tennessee in his time there because they don't have the score. They had their chance last year with Dalton Connect and they were out first round.
yeah,
That's just the way they're going to do it in blocks. They're number one in opponent field goal percentage. They're number one in opponent 3-point percentage. They don't give up a ton of shooting. It's just will the offense show up?
yeah.
That's their big question.
If
So
they do somehow show up though, I could see Tennessee beating Auburn.
yeah,
Pretty,
I could totally
pretty.
see Tennessee beating Auburn. I think they match up well with each other.
Yeah.
Um,
And
but
same with Bama, Florida. I think Bama and Florida match up well with each other too, in the
mhm.
weirdest way. Like,
And
gosh, you
I
gotta,
would love I think a Tennessee Florida championship game would be great. I think an Auburn Alabama championship would be great. An Auburn Florida championship. I mean, there's not really a those if it's one of those four teams. I don't think there's a wrong answer on what a great
I mean, you're
championship.
looking at an actual Final Four, like something that we could realistically see in the NCAA tournament with how good
Yeah,
these teams are. Like,
for sure.
so,
But
man,
it's gonna be crazy. And then next thing you know, the bracket is out, and it's like, oh, who cares about the SEC tournament? Now we're into March Madness.
yeah, literally. But
So it all happened. Then you got 2 days, and then it's the first four in Dayton, and it's off and rolling. And then in a blink of an eye, it's over.
yeah, literally.
But
So out of the teams on Wednesday, who do you think has the highest chance at winning this whole tournament?
ooh, um,
I've got one game I'm looking at, or if they like,
I mean, if it plays out well, Arkansas.
yeah,
Just because I think the thing with Vanderbilt is I've loved the way they play this year. Their coach, given they're projected to finish last in the SEC, by the way, by a mile.
yeah. I
Fact
mean,
that
they
they're
are
making the
pretty much
SEC
every year
tournament, or they're making the NCAA tournament is an incredible job.
for
Um,
sure.
they don't have the size to where like they get through a gauntlet and they're playing Tennessee on their third day. Like I don't think they'll be able to hold up. Like my fun fact with Vanderbilt is on their depth chart. You look and Google it right now. Everybody on the depth chart is labeled as a point guard.
That's crazy.
Everybody's labeled as a point guard because it's that offense where they're going to shoot and but I don't know. I just don't think they'll be able to hold up going 5 days in a row. But
Yeah,
Arkansas,
I don't think any team is because that's
no,
brutal.
but I
I'm just
think
like
Arkansas can at least
hypothetically.
match up. Obviously, they can match up with South Carolina. They can match up well with Ole Miss. I think they're a team that can match up well with Auburn.
Hmm.
Scoring, if it's Tennessee, is going to be tough. That's just That would be hard. And then depending on how the bracket falls, they could get to Sunday. I don't know. I don't think any of them could win it.
Hmm.
I think Arkansas could get to Saturday maybe.
The tallest player on Vanderbilt's roster is 6'9", which
Yeah.
kind of
So
wild.
he's a point guard though. He's nice with it. Is that
Hmm.
McLaughlin?
It's Wright, some guy named Wright. I don't even think he plays a lot.
Yeah. So like I said, they are very small.
McLaughlin's only 6'7".
Yeah, what they do well. Um,
Yeah.
it's just you get into again, Arkansas just had their way with them because they get every rebound and they could, crash the glass.
Hmm. I'm
I don't know
thinking.
how they stopped Janai Broom and Cardwell. Like that'd be impossible.
I think Texas is honestly my team
Ooh.
to somehow win it. Because, like you said, like leading scorer in the conference on their roster, like you beat Vanderbilt, and then you get to Texas A&M, and like to me that side of the bracket is the easiest path. I think, in a weird way. Um, I think Georgia and Oklahoma's and LSU and Mississippi State's is brutal. Like
Yeah,
running into Missouri, then Florida, or running into Kentucky, then Alabama sucks.
I agree
But
with
like
that.
I could so see Texas getting into a game with A&M, they get in a shootout, and then all of a sudden Texas takes over. And then you're looking at Tennessee, which, like we said, are they a lockdown defensive team? Yes, but they don't score a lot.
Yeah.
So
They can get got.
yeah, I think A&M and Tennessee are two teams that can get got if like possible. But again, at that point, I don't see them beating like an Auburn. But
Right.
again, I could see like an Ole Miss or an Arkansas beating Auburn, and then all of a sudden, if you're Texas, you could be seeing I don't know Ole Miss in the semis, and who
Right.
knows what
That's a
happens
whole
in that
different
kind of game.
story.
Yeah, so I would
Watch
say
this. Watch.
Texas.
We're giving all this crap and watching like, oh, Tennessee cuts down the nets. Like, okay, like
I
our
mean,
bad.
if they do, they do. But like,
Yeah, if they do, they do. If I'm predicting it being Florida Auburn and Florida's cutting down the nets. That's
um,
that's my official prediction. They're telling us at work we're going to fill out a bracket. That is how I'm filling out the bracket. If you want game by game, I'll give you game by game, but Florida's cutting down the nets.
yeah. You want to go game by game to finish this out?
I can get this quick. I can get this quick. Watch this. We got Arkansas is going to beat South Carolina.
Okay.
Watch me be 0 for 1 and I'll be sad. I will say Vandy beats Texas. State beats LSU. I'm going Georgia beating Oklahoma. I'm riding with that.
Yep.
Arkansas, Ole Miss. Oh man, flip a coin on that. Give me Arkansas.
You want me to flip a coin? Okay. Go Arkansas.
Give me Arkansas. I will take A&M against Vanderbilt.
Okay.
I will take Missouri against State. And
Picking the
just
over.
I have to speak this into existence. I need Kentucky, Alabama. I need Kentucky, Alabama.
Yeah.
And so if that's the case, I've got Auburn beating Arkansas.
Yep.
That's out of chalk. Yeah, Tennessee's beating A&M. I will see now. I'm like, I got Missouri, Florida sitting here, and I'm sitting here
Mm-hmm.
saying Florida's going to cut down the nets. But now I'm like,
Crap.
nah, I'll roll with it. Give me Florida. Um, and this is just a homer pick. Alabama, please beat Kentucky, please. Like I'm desperately begging you. If you win anything, beat
Might would hang myself
yeah,
if
like Cumberland River. Like please just
haven't talked about the Cumberland River yet.
yeah,
There's
nah. But if like y'all lose that game, I will jump into the Cumberland. Like please, if y'all ain't even gotta win the whole thing, just beat Kentucky. I want a full. I want Nashville, Bridgestone Arena to be fully blue, and I want them
exiting
outside.
the arena. Yeah.
Like please, I'm begging you.
All
You
right.
can lose against Florida, which I have you doing if that's the case.
Okay.
Um, so then I've got Auburn beating Tennessee, Florida beating Alabama, Florida beats Auburn for the SEC championship.
Fair enough.
Gator
I like
bait,
it.
baby. Gator bait.
I like it.
Lock
I
it
like
in.
it. Let's see.
The floor is
How,
yours.
how do I pick this? Yeah, I'm gonna go Arkansas beats Carolina.
Woo pig.
Um, I'm gonna go Vandy beats Texas, although I think that's gonna be a
Man, you were
closer
just all
game.
like, man, watch out for Texas.
I just think Texas has the ability to, like,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense. Like I know
I
that
think
might
they
not make sense, but
won't.
like I just don't think they will.
Lee Corso over
I
here.
could see them getting hot.
Yeah.
But I'll take Vanderbilt in a close game. A
It,
really
that
close
that
game.
screams like that's the one that's like there's like an overtime or
I'm
buzzer beater.
so
It's gonna be
excited for that.
chaos.
And that's Wednesday morning, so I'm hoping like maybe nerves settle a little bit. Like Carolina, Arkansas probably be somewhat of a blowout maybe. I don't know. Carolina beat
Maybe
Arkansas, but like I could
Arkansas
see
may be
that.
the team to scream at you because that was all the Kentucky boys last year.
Okay, yeah. Vanderbilt beats Texas.
Yeah.
State beats LSU. Georgia beats Oklahoma. Although I could see
Yeah,
Oklahoma being
we're
a
not getting
team to.
Oklahoma any love, and that kind of makes me feel.
I could see it. I could
Yeah.
see it. In fact, actually, I'm gonna go Oklahoma beats Georgia.
Okay.
I'll go Oklahoma beats. I'm gonna go a little risky with my picks
South
here.
Carolina winning that first game would be the funniest thing in the world. Shout out Nick Pringle.
Gosh, be amazing.
Yeah, it would.
Arkansas beats Ole Miss.
Oh, hotty toddy. Not really.
Um, Vandy beats Texas A&M.
Wow.
Missouri beats State.
That's the other one where we feel like so confident in. What if Mississippi State just like, you know what?
There's a
I'm gonna
chance, man.
cause chaos.
Um, and then Kentucky beats Oklahoma.
Hmm. Big Blue Nation, unbelievable. Bro, what
Unbelievable,
he might pull up.
dude! Oh my
If he pulls
gosh,
up,
it's gonna be
I'm
some legends pulling up, dude.
yeah.
Auburn beats Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Tennessee beats Vandy.
Yep.
Missouri beats Florida.
Oh, you got
Like I just have
Kentucky and Alabama.
I just have
9:30 at night. We're all sleep deprived and tired, and it's day three. We want to
I'm gonna
go
find
home.
my energy for that game
But it's
somehow,
the
some
greatest. I
way.
mean, that's what I did last year, and it slapped me in the face.
And watch us not even get it. Watch it be Oklahoma, Alabama.
I mean, Alabama's gonna be there regardless. I'll be
That's what I'm
fired up.
saying. Well,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, and yeah, I think Bama handles Kentucky pretty easily, actually. Um,
Dog.
I know
I'm
it's a
just telling
ballsy
you,
pick.
you ain't been in that gym yet. You
I
ain't been in that
know,
gym
but like,
yet. Big
I
Blue
know,
Nation. You
I
gonna have
know,
rednecks cussing at you.
I know. It's just the way Bama played Kentucky both games this year. Like,
Yeah, it's hard to beat a team 3 times.
I know, I know,
I mean,
I
don't
know.
get me wrong. I want them to win, but this is how I am whenever they play Kentucky, and it's more respect
Yeah,
to
fair.
Kentucky because they are what
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
college basketball program to be. But I'm just telling you, man.
I know.
I'm just telling you, they start chanting that "Go Big
So
Blue,"
I've
you
got
can't get
Auburn,
anybody behind
Tennessee,
you.
Bama, Missouri. I'll take Auburn and I'll take Bama.
Yeah,
Gosh, I would love this championship
I know
so
where you're going with
much. I
this. I
would.
know where you're going with this. You have to do it. You can't have them losing the Iron Bowl of basketball in the SEC championship because then you have
Yeah, give me Bama. To me, if they get to
they
Sunday,
don't.
they're winning.
Man,
Um,
that game would be,
so I would love it. I'm picking with my heart a
dude.
little
I get
bit.
five.
Is it
I
going to
would.
happen? Probably not. But
Yeah, but if that happens, you and me on that Bama bench
greatest
would
moment of my
be
life.
it would be unbelievable. We
Special.
say all this, and it's going to be
Yeah.
Missouri, Texas A&M, and we're all going to be sad. But it's
Missouri,
not about the
Texas
final
A&M.
result. It's about the journey.
What's wrong with Missouri and Texas A&M?
It's about getting chased by the Mississippi State Bulldog. Was it the Georgia Bulldog?
Screaming at him if you've ever heard of
It's
Mike
about getting
Vick.
chased by a bulldog in a random hallway of the back lot of Bridgestone Arena. It's about finding out that you just missed seeing Ja Morant walking by, like, no big deal. Um, it's about Marty Smith
Do you think
coming
there'll be
in.
any big celebrities, big basketball players that pull up?
Um, that's a good question. I mean, I definitely think there'll be like think about if Auburn goes on a run, I could see Chuck being there.
Mm-hmm.
Think about well, think about if Texas went on a run, Matthew McConaughey pulling up.
If we get
Um,
Bama Auburn, I think Saban pulls up.
I would hope Saban pulls up. Um, Auburn, yeah, like I said, they bring out Chuck. Tennessee, with it being so close, they could bring out anybody. Like Peyton might show up. or it be in Nashville. Morgan Wallen,
Some
could
random
stuff like
country
that.
singer. Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me. I'm trying to think. Ole Miss, low key. Who is it? Morgan Freeman could pop up. Morgan Freeman's an
Hmm.
Ole Miss guy. Fun fact. Lane Kiffin, why not? Um, Texas A&M, I don't know if
Jesus.
Chubby Pastor could show up. You never know. You never
Baker
know.
pulls up for Oklahoma.
Who is it? Vanderbilt could have like Jelly Roll show up or Dirks Bentley. He's pulled up to their games.
I love Jelly Roll.
Yeah, I think top of my list would be though if it's Dick Vitale calling any of these games, I'm approaching. I would
Oh,
talk
me
to
too.
Dick
Yeah.
Vitale if
It's
he's
another thing
calling
I'm
the game.
starting to think about is what connections can I make once I'm up there? Like
Yeah, I mean
something.
that's part of what it's about. You got a lot of time, especially in between those sessions.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, that's what did we get? An hour almost?
Yeah, well, depending on how games go, yeah. So that's the other thing.
What are we gonna have for
I wish I
breakfast
would have time
on
checked on
Wednesday?
like what the actual like ending of games was.
Dude, I could cook us up a mean breakfast on Wednesday morning when we have to like pulling up to the arena, like in the Lexus Lounge, you just see me cooking breakfast for the whole crew.
Yeah. Dog, I gotta get there. I gotta get
Don't
there
know why I
3
said that,
for
but
you, baby. You gotta realize we
gosh,
leave in Franklin at 7 a.m.
it's freaking insane.
We rising and shining. But
I
regardless,
have to pop some serious energy drinks. I've already got 5 Star clutched up. They did 6 energy drinks for $1 each. So I got my
ooh,
money's worth on Friday and I'm bringing them to Nashville for the trip.
heck yes. He's prepared. I don't do energy drinks. I'm adrenaline. Give me
Yeah,
adrenaline.
I'm worried about the crash. If I crash after an energy drink, like
I'm
although
just
I
gonna
don't think I'm gonna crash, but
I'll warn you, no disrespect to any of these teams. But Wednesday night, when you're sitting there in the middle of LSU, Mississippi State, there will probably be a crash.
crash, yeah.
And then you're like, oh,
Yeah.
what's after? Then you're like, oh, wait a minute. Oklahoma, Georgia after
Georgia,
this?
Oklahoma. Yeah.
Yeah,
The,
buddy.
the
There will
one game
probably
I'm
be a crash. Your
hyped
best case
for
scenario to
sorry, good.
no, I'm saying you get to Thursday, you'll be okay. But I think Wednesday, w-
Texas Vanderbilt, I think, is where I'm gonna peak because South Carolina, Arkansas, I'll get my nerves settled in a little bit, get back into the flow of things, be like, all
yeah,
right, I'm back. And
I think your best case scenario is maybe Vanderbilt winning, so there's a little bit of a crowd pop on that second game on Thursday because I think Thursday night you'll be solid.
oh yeah, Thursday night will be fun. Kentucky,
Yeah.
I'm glad Kentucky is
Yep.
like in terms of energy, Kentucky's crowd will help on Thursday, and then the adrenaline just for personal feelings about Alabama will help on Friday.
Well, the Adrenaline Friday is just going to be an all day thing.
Yeah.
You get to watch Auburn play, which is great. You'll see Tennessee and their crowd kind of take over. You'll watch Florida play, like if it's Florida, Missouri, like dude, and then Alabama just playing at night honestly
Against
helps them.
Kentucky.
Yeah,
Gosh.
and then once from there on out, it's pure adrenaline.
Yeah.
Although I will be very, very honest, the semifinals last year being Auburn, Mississippi State, and Florida, Texas A&M wasn't the spiciest.
So you think Friday's the most hyped we're going to be? I could
Depending
see
on
it
the
being yes
results,
because I mean, it's an automatic.
no, the championship game was the hypest. The championship game is like
Yeah, true. But like, what if it's freaking Ole Miss and Mississippi State? Like
rooting for BK, baby, better
the
the
egg
egg bowl.
bowl.
What you
Get
talking
an
about?
egg bowl.
Yeah, I can spin zone it. I can spin zone it.
Yeah.
So, but it's here. It's beautiful. There is chance
Most
for
beautiful
chalk.
thing I've
There's a
ever seen in
chance
my
for
life.
chaos. But no matter what happens, just always remember it just means more.